Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we've got something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a raw transcript
okay.
from a meeting. And it's about this group that's trying to organize a community for AI and machine learning in Malaysia.
Hmm.
So it's almost like we're kind of like eavesdropping on their planning session.
That's cool. I like that kind of behind the scenes look, Like we hear about the finished product, like they're having an event or a workshop or something, but
Right.
you don't really see what goes into it, the work and
Sweat.
the sweat, yeah, the tears, all that stuff.
Well, they're definitely putting in the work.
Okay.
This meeting is led by someone named Kwan Hong,
Hmm.
who we'll call KH.
Okay.
And KH is the founder of this community.
You're right.
And they've been at it for like almost a decade.
Yeah, that's dedication.
It is. And you can tell they're really passionate about this.
Yeah.
The thing that jumped out at me was they were talking about how there used to be a TensorFlow-focused group,
Oh, interesting.
but they rebranded.
Okay, so TensorFlow, for people who don't know.
Right. It's a very popular machine learning library.
Yeah.
Open source.
Ah.
Um,
Our.
very powerful. But KH realized that by just focusing on TensorFlow, it was kind of limiting
Limiting how?
in terms of like who would join the group and how much they could actually do.
So more inclusive, like
Right.
by opening it up to every kind of AI and ML.
All different kinds of tools.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that actually brought in more people or if there was any pushback on that.
Yeah, we didn't really get into that in this transcript, but it's something to think about.
Yeah, sure.
Now, KH kicks off the meeting by talking about kind of like a year in review,
Okay.
and they managed to have a meetup every single month,
Wow, so that's 12?
12 in a row.
That's impressive.
Yeah, you need that consistency, I think, with any kind of group.
Yeah, to keep people engaged and...
Build that sense of community.
Exactly.
But it's not just about showing up to these meetups, you know?
Right.
It's about planning them and coming up with content.
Right.
KH also organized something called the Machine Learning Olympiad.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was in partnership with Kaggle, which, if you don't know...
Kind of like the Olympics of data science, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And 89 teams participated.
Wow, for a community-driven event, that's
That's a lot.
impressive. Yeah.
Especially like you think about some of these well-established hackathons.
Right.
They struggle to get those kinds of numbers.
Wow. So that says a lot about the interest there in Malaysia.
It does, and it seems like there's a real hunger for learning about this and
Yeah.
competing.
Competing for sure.
But, success has its challenges.
Oh, I'm sure.
KH makes it very clear that they are feeling overwhelmed,
Okay.
and they really need help.
All right. So this is where we get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, this is where it gets good.
Let's hear it.
So they're looking for volunteers.
Okay.
First off, they need help with their website. It's just a simple Google site right now.
Easy.
So, you don't have to be a super expert web developer.
Got it. So someone could really make a difference there, even if they're just starting out.
Right. They could. Yeah.
Cool.
Then they also need people to help with events, like when they have their meetup,
Mm-hmm.
like the next one coming up in January.
Yeah, okay.
They need help with registration
Yeah.
and, like ushering people in, making sure everybody's where they need to be, and also taking pictures and videos.
Yeah, documentation is always important,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
show off what you did and
And to have those memories.
for sure.
And then KH drops a little bit of a bombshell. They admit that they've been doing all of the planning,
All of it.
for these meetups by themselves.
Oh,
So that means like finding the venue,
finding speakers,
getting the speakers,
managing registration.
all of it, promoting it.
Wow, that's a lot of work for one person.
That is a lot of work.
Wow. I mean, it's a testament to their dedication, but that can't be sustainable.
It's not. And you can kind of sense the burnout in the transcript. So they're looking for people to help them in the future with these meetups. And, imagine the experience you could get,
Yeah.
organizing an event like that from start to finish.
You'd learn about budgeting and marketing and speaker management. That's like a crash course in event planning.
It is. And, you get to kind of shape the direction of the community.
Right. And they even say, if you're interested in speaking,
There's a form.
there's a form. Yeah. Like if you have some expertise to share,
Yeah.
this is your chance.
They're open to it.
Awesome.
Now, remember that Machine Learning Olympiad they had?
Yeah. The hackathon.
They want to do another one.
Of course, it was so successful.
It was such a big success. So they're calling all data scientists,
All right.
Python programmers, anyone who's interested in this kind of thing.
I mean, the skills you could get from that,
You could learn so much.
project management, data analysis.
Community engagement.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great way to build your network too.
exactly.
You know.
And contribute to the growth of this field in Malaysia.
Right.
Very cool.
But KH does point out one of the biggest challenges with the hackathon,
What's that?
getting the data.
The data. Oh, yeah. That's important.
Yeah, last year they had to do everything.
Everything like what?
Like finding the data sets, cleaning them,
Formatting them.
getting them ready.
Data wrangling.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. It could be very tedious.
But it's so important.
It is because, bad data leads to bad results.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
So, if you're someone who loves to, dig into data and find the patterns and clean things up,
This is for you.
you could be really valuable.
That's cool.
Now, on top of all of that, KH also has this program called the ML Study Jam.
The what?
ML Study Jam.
What is that?
So basically, it's like they take these Kaggle courses.
So like the online data science boot camp kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they have these weekly meetings to discuss them.
Oh, that's smart. So you get the structured learning, but you also have that community aspect.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So they're looking for people to help facilitate those discussions.
Right.
Either in person or online.
So people can contribute no matter where they are.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then, of course, no community is complete without social media.
Right.
But, with social media comes spam.
Oh, yeah.
So they need help moderating
Ah,
their Facebook group, their Discord server, their LinkedIn page.
It's not the most glamorous job,
No.
but it's important to
Yeah.
keep that space
Healthy.
healthy and safe and
Productive.
yeah,
For sure. And throughout this whole meeting, you can just sense KH's passion and
dedication.
yeah, they even talk about they want to get community t-shirts.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, once they get sponsors.
That's a good idea. It creates a sense of belonging.
Exactly.
A little group identity.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And speaking of big dreams,
Yeah.
KH wants to host an AI conference in Malaysia.
Wow. That's ambitious.
It is.
That's amazing.
But it just shows you the potential that they see.
They're not just thinking small. They're thinking,
Long term.
yeah, building something bigger.
And then this really cool thing happens. Someone in the community
Okay.
named Chong
Chong.
steps up and says, hey, I can help with the transcription
Oh, wow.
of all the speakers
That's great.
using open source software.
Awesome.
That is exactly
What they were asking for.
what they needed.
Yeah.
And it just shows you how valuable it can be.
The power of community.
Yeah, when everyone checks in.
Everyone has something to contribute.
Exactly.
Even if it seems small, it can make a big difference.
And that leads us to some interesting questions,
Like what?
How can this kind of initiative be encouraged more? And, what challenges might KH face as this community grows?
Yeah. Things to think about.
Yeah. So we'll dig into all of that
Okay.
in part 2.
I'm looking forward to it.
But for now, what stands out to you about KH's approach to building this community?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but I think the main thing is just this incredible passion. And, a lot of people have passion, but
Right.
KH is able to channel that into action and, really get people excited
Yeah,
about what they're doing. And I think that's a really powerful thing.
it is. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we have.
So we'll be back in part 2 to explore more of this transcript and what it reveals about the challenges and rewards
The good and the bad.
of building a thriving tech community.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
One thing that really struck me as we were going through this is KH is honesty.
Oh, yeah.
They're really upfront about the challenges.
Not just the wins.
Not just the win. Yeah, they talk about this pizza incident.
There's an incident.
Yeah. So apparently they ordered way too much pizza for one meetup
Okay.
because a bunch of people RSVP'd but then didn't show up.
Oh, no. The classic RSVP, but no show.
Exactly. You can kind of see why they're really emphasizing the need for volunteers.
To help with registration and stuff.
Yeah, making sure people are actually coming if they say they are.
I mean, it's a good point. You need that data
You do.
to make good decisions.
Right, how much food to order.
Yeah, and how big of a space you need and all that.
Exactly.
So even with a simple meetup, data's important.
It is.
I never thought about it like that.
But it also kind of shows a bigger problem.
What's that?
It's how do you build that commitment?
Oh, yeah. How do you get people to actually show up?
Yeah, it's one thing to RSVP,
Right. Click the button, say you're go.
but actually being there is a whole other thing.
That's where the real community happens, right?
Exactly.
When you're all together.
So Cage trying to come up with some ways to address that.
They're like, what?
They talk about showcasing community members on their website.
Oh, no. So giving people recognition.
Yeah, and maybe inspiring others to get involved.
Yeah, that's cool.
Remember those T-shirts?
Oh, yeah, the T-shirts?
That's another way to create that sense of belonging.
Right. We're all part of this.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because KH has all these big dreams.
We talked about the conference.
The conference, right.
Mm.
But they also seem really practical.
Oh, okay.
Like they know they can't do everything at once.
They have to build up to it.
They have to build up to it. They need the volunteers. They need a system.
Good foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to ask for help.
Which is good.
Which is good, yeah. Like they're very specific about what they need.
Website redesign.
Yeah. Event planning, social media moderation.
Just say what you need.
Put it out there.
Yeah. And hopefully people will step up.
That's the hope. But what do you think are some of the challenges they might face?
Well, keeping that momentum going is tough.
Right. They've had a great year.
It's easy to start something.
It is.
It's harder to keep it going.
Especially at that level.
Yeah, like a marathon.
It is. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
So having that clear structure, those roles for volunteers.
That's key.
Yeah, so things don't fall apart.
And so KH doesn't get burned out.
Right. They can't do it all themselves.
Another thing I was thinking about,
What's up?
it's accessibility.
Oh, okay.
Like the transcript focuses on events in Malaysia.
Right.
But what about language?
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, are these events in English? In Malay?
Yeah, because if they're only in one language, that excludes a lot of people.
It does.
Especially in a multilingual country like Malaysia.
So that's something I'd be curious to see how they handle.
Yeah, maybe events in both languages or translations.
Or partner with different groups.
Yeah, to reach different communities.
That's the goal, right? Make this accessible to everyone.
Exactly. AI for all.
AI for all, but it's not just language.
Mhm.
It's like the timing of the event.
The location.
Yeah, making sure it works for people who
Two
from different backgrounds.
different parts of the country.
Right.
That's a lot to consider.
It is, and it makes me wonder,
About what?
how do you keep that sense of community
As it gets bigger.
as it gets bigger?
Because that close-knit feeling,
It can get lost.
yeah, as you add more people.
So maybe smaller groups within the bigger group.
Mentorship.
Yeah, like buddy up with someone new.
Make them feel welcome.
Exactly.
That's important.
And I think it all goes back to KH's vision.
That big AI conference.
More than just an event.
Yeah, it's about showcasing what Malaysia can do.
Exactly. All the talent and the potential.
To the world.
It's a world.
That's exciting.
It is, but it's also a whole other level.
Oh, yeah. Way more complex than a meetup.
Way more.
More resources, more planning.
But you know what?
What?
I think KH can do it.
I think so, too.
They've got the passion, the drive, the resourcefulness.
And they know how to bring people together.
That's the key.
That's the magic ingredient.
You know, it's amazing to think that this one meeting, this transcript, could have such a big impact.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
On the whole AI scene in Malaysia.
It makes you realize this is just one little piece of something much bigger.
Exactly. Like all over the world, there are people like KH.
People with passion.
Building communities, trying new things, pushing the boundaries.
And it's not just in tech. It's
Wow.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Art, music, healthcare,
Education.
you name it.
And it shows you that you don't need a fancy title or a ton of money.
You don't need to be a big shot.
You just need that passion,
And a vision.
a vision, and the willingness to put in the work.
The elbow grease.
And that brings us to you.
Our listeners.
This deep dive has been about more than just this transcript
It's about the power of community.
and how we can all be a part of something bigger.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a question.
What role could you play?
In supporting a community like this,
Or maybe even starting your own.
do you have skills you could share?
Web design, data analysis, event planning.
Or maybe you just love to learn and want to connect with people.
Don't underestimate yourself.
Even small things can make a difference.
Like helping with social media.
Mentoring someone new.
Showing up regularly.
Remember Chong.
The guy with the transcription skills.
He saw a need and he stepped up
And that could inspire others.
to do the same.
So think about it.
What are you passionate about?
Where could you make a difference?
And then take that first step.
Find a group. Go to a meeting. Volunteer your time.
You might be surprised by what happens.
The connections you make.
The things you learn.
The impact you have.
There are amazing communities out there.
Just waiting for you.
And who knows?
Maybe you'll inspire the next KH.
Go explore, connect, contribute,
Keep diving deep.
and remember, you're not alone.
That's all for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.